I am Marcus James Dixon with Gold Derby, and we are here with Brian Tyree Henry, who plays Ray Driscoll on Dope Thief, a con artist who steals from the wrong people. And if only he had trusted his instincts and not gone into that house, Brian, the show wouldn't even happen.
But then we wouldn't be here, would we? We wouldn't be able to sit here and have the conversation we're about to have.
It's good he went in there then.
It is good. I mean, everything that happens is absolutely terrible, but in the end, it's a fun ride, I think.
It is a fun ride, yes. So Wagner Moura plays Manny, and you two sort of have this fun, wild ride together on the show. Talk about him and your how he was your partner in crime in this.
Wagner Moura is truly one of the best that's ever done it, and being able to do this show with him was the greatest gift I've ever been given. Honestly, it was very unconventional how we got Wagner because we hired him on a Friday. He was on set on a Monday, so that required a lot from him. And as his co-star and also as the EP, I had to make quite a few decisions if this was something that I wanted to put this wonderful, amazing human being through. But I knew that he would be the best person. I knew without a doubt that his skill was what was needed for the show. And so we had a conversation on a Friday. I had to make the call and to ask if this was something he was willing to sign on for. And I made this call fully trying to talk him out of it. Like I was like, because if you asked me, I would have been like, no way, this is crazy. Have you read this? This is crazy. And so I called him to basically just be like, hey, there's the show that I'm doing that I think would be, and by the end of the conversation, he was like, "Oh, I'm definitely in." He was like, "I after talking to you, I'm definitely in." And I was like, "Shit, I got it. Oh man." So our first day on set is truly the very first scene of this show. Like we're getting in this van and we're preparing to go and rob this house. And before we go on set, he pulls me to the side in this room and he locks the door behind us. And I was like, "What is about to happen?" And he like just pulls me close and he's like, "My name is Wagner Moura. I'm his father of three. English is not my first language. I'm really scared. I'm from it." Just like starts telling, which they say is what you should do to a serial killer. If someone's about to kill you, you should tell them like all your. So I was like, is this what he? And so I also was like, well, my name is Brian and I'm playing Ray. And I was like, regardless of what goes on, I promise you, I won't leave your side. Like we've got each other. And from then on, we were just connected and locked in, which is what you needed for Ray and Manny, because in my mind, this is truly a love story between these two friends who are more than friends. I don't even think the word friend is appropriate. They've been through so much together. They've been incarcerated together since they were 15. There's not one element of their lives that they've hidden from each other. And then they create this scheme where they're pretending to be DEA agents because now they're free of from incarceration and are being told that they can live freely, and they don't know exactly what that looks like or how to make ends meet. So they come up with this scam. And they're terrible at it. Like they're not skilled, they're not professional, they're amateurs. And then it just unravels so many things in front of them, including their relationship with each other and where they stand and what trust looks like and what care looks like. And you really need a partner that is going to go there with you, like even when the cameras aren't rolling. Like me and Wagner became so close and truly trust one another and care about one another. I mean, even to this day, like I reach out to him all the time, and I really wanted to see a relationship like that. I had not seen a relationship like that. It's very easy to see series where it's a black and brown man paired together, violence, drugs, all the yahooey, but you never really get to the core of who they are. You always feel like it's body count and nothing. But these two men are afraid. These two men are vulnerable. They are scared. With every body that they count up, there is a grief, there is a regret, there's all this stuff. And that excited me. And a lot of that praise has to go to the writing of the show as well. Peter Craig, who is just another brother that I've completely like found and adopted in my life. He does this wonderful thing of creating characters that you root for, who are so incredibly flawed, who are just like, God damn it. It's just like, why? Like, why? And that is, I think, the meat and potatoes for actors to play that, because you have to find such deep duality And you have to also find a way to get the viewers to want to tune in and root for you and care for you, and all of that is possible because of Peter.
The tone is at times very dark, but also very light. There are some really funny moments,
Mhm.
including the first episode where you tell the kid to get on the ground and he pauses his game. And you're like, you just paused it? Like, talk about the dual tones there. What was it like on set? Was it kind of lighthearted?
Yeah, like this was my first chance getting to EP, and what I realized by being the star of the show and also the EP of the show is that there's this phrase that floats around on sets that says it starts from the top, right? And what that basically means is like wherever the whoever is considered at the top of the show, their tone dictates the rest of how the show goes. Like and it's felt, you know. And so in this particular project, I kind of felt like, being number one on the call sheet, that I set the tone, and I didn't want anything but joy. Like even in this dark ass series, I wanted people to show up and really go on the journey with me, right? Because it's an invitation, right? We're going on this journey together. Like there's no way I could do it by myself. And so the tone, it was very important that in between takes that we really found levity. You know what I mean? Like even if I'm on the ground covered in blood with a hole in my leg, in between takes, we're gonna get up. I'm gonna play music. We're gonna talk about this. We're gonna do this, or I'm at least gonna have a discussion with you about like where I'm locked in at, because like I said, this whole show it took everybody, and we all cared about each other. Like we really did. And so because the content can be very dark at times, you often find that there's so much humor in that in and of itself. I think about this particular scene between Wagner and I, where you talk about the me telling him to pause the game, which is improv, by the way.
Ah.
Like Peter would let us improv, all the time, which is my juice. Like I love it. Like I just always want to be truthful in where the characters are, and so Peter would just let us go. But in that same essence, what's hanging over that entire episode is that it's Ray's birthday, and so Ray is just like hanging on to this little beef about how nobody remembers that it's my birthday. Like, and even before we go into the house, I'm telling him, we got to do this, we got to do that. And it's my birthday. He's just like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, this is terrible. And like, so that to me were some of the sweet spots of the show of like where, like where the humor got to hang out in all the darkness. And I think that that's what's so great about Peter is that there's always room to find this kind of like levity in these characters, because like if it's always just a blanket of heaviness, it's like all right. But like with these guys, because they're such amateurs, because they're best friends, you still wanted to see that kind of back and forth. There were spaces that felt like it needed it all the time, and we would find it. There's another scene where we're holding a grenade. Like, and all I'm doing is I'm just saying anything that will make this man just like please get. And to me, that is a really heartwarming scene that then turns into a funny scene that then turns into like just a frustration, and it then turns back to a heartwarming scene, and then you're just like, what? So those things are just so fun to play. Like they're just so fun to play, and I think that that's why I have such a huge appreciation for Dope Thief, is because it gave me space to play and be messy, like to really be messy and find those spots, because that's the life these men were thrust in. It's not all clean. It's not very cookie cutter. It's them really trying to find their way, like really trying to figure out how to be human.
We love talking about awards here at Gold Derby, and I wanted to mention your Gotham TV Awards, the Performer Tribute, and also the nomination for the Best Lead Performance in a Limited Series. Congratulations on those honors. What do awards mean to you as a performer?
Not much, because I don't ever win shit. So like it's cool. It's cool, but I'm always so wrong about what I think, people will recognize. And I really never think about it. Let me tell you something. I'm honored. I'm so, so, so honored to be amongst the number, but I never really think about it. even when I got my Oscar nomination, you know, for Causeway, you know, I remember doing this movie with Jen, and in between takes, sometimes she was like, "Oh, you're going to get nominated," and I was like, "Shut up!" I was like, "Stop!" Like, when you shut up, stop saying that. But I was like, of course she would know. Like, what am I like? But I just never thought about it. I was like, nobody knows who I am. Nobody, like, I don't know who's watching this. I don't know. I do it because I love to do it. I do it because I love these characters, and you know, I I've often been right about how my feeling about a character is reflected in the people who watch the character. So I often think about how I feel about them and how
Mhm.
I want other people to think about them. And usually if I meet that goal, then I'm good. But when it comes to the nominations, I never really know. I've never been good at popularity stuff. Like, I've never been that guy. I've been the one to be called into the dean's office all the time for causing ruckus on campus. And you know, like that scene where the dean is like, "What are you rebelling against, Henry?" And I'm like, "What do you got?" You know what I mean? Like I'm like that kind of guy. Like so when it comes to awards, I just never really, but this one in particular for Gotham's is so great because it is New York. You know, like this is where I started everything. Like it's so great coming home. It will always be home. Like it's so home that my license is still a New York license. Like I'm so, and if you're from New York, you know how hard it is to get a New York license. But it was such a rite of passage. And so to be able to be nominated and honored at the same time at the Gothams is just it takes the breath out of me. I'm just like, wow, my city is actually showing me love. My city actually really um it wants this for me. So I don't know. The nominations are great. Like trust me, any actor that says they don't care is probably lying. Like you know what I'm saying? Like because this it's the thing, right? But like as far as like where they hold a place for me, I just try to do good stuff. I
Yeah.
just try to work with the great people. And also for me, it's like who am I nominated with? That's the part that I'm like, oh, who am I in there with? You know what I mean? Like when I saw it was with Stephen Graham, I was like, oh, I already won. I was like, I don't even need Stephen Graham in here. What do you mean? Like it's all good. So those things are the important part because they bring you closer to your peers and bring you closer to the people that you were fans of, and
Mhm.
it's really cool. So you know, I'm so appreciative of the nominations and so appreciative of the honors, you know, but I still want to get back to where I still want to keep showing y'all what I got. Like I still want to keep letting these characters find me and doing the stuff that really excites me and you. So, you know,
Mhm.
but I am honored. All that to say, I am honored.
If there are any Emmy voters watching, I just want to highlight I think it was the sixth episode where you're shot, you have the bullet wound, and you're going through all of these emotions, the shock of it, and a lot of screaming, a lot of just frustration. And it really, I felt like you were shot. Like I feel you're an actor, but I'm like, that was such a performance. It must have taken a lot out of you.
That episode in particular, like we knew it was coming.
Hmm.
God, I knew it was coming. Because what's so great about that episode is that you have 5 episodes before where Ray won't shut up. Like Ray is constantly trying to take care of everybody. Ray is always on the move. Ray is running. Ray is plotting. Ray is planning. And in this particular episode, he is so helpless. Like he's so helpless. And if you look at it, this is the first time that Ray is below everyone else. So all the angles for Ray are looking up at people. Like it's always him looking up and having to have people like, you know, take care of him. This particular episode was also on the heels of a major loss in my life. So my father died right before I.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So thank you. But this episode also dealt with Ray and his father and like all these different things. And I was like, you have got to be kidding. I was like, there is no way that you can make this up. Like because what had happened was is that the strike had happened in May, and so had the strike not happened, I would have filmed this episode at the beginning of the year, and I would have, you know, but it just so happens that the strike halted us, and then what we came back to was this episode, and then my father died right before, like literally a week before we went into production for that episode. So I was like, I got some choices. I got a few choices I can deal with here. I can either crumble, you know, I can crumble underneath the weight of what that is, or I can pull up and use this, you know, and actually like lay the burden down of what that is. And I chose a little bit of A and B. I chose a little bit, but because of the support system I had with this show. Like honestly, like with my entire cast, with the entire crew, with every director, with Peter, I knew that I was safe, and I think that that was what you saw because like it gave me room to really figure out what this shit was for Ray because the whole purpose of this show was to get Ray to the other side. Like all I knew is I wanted to see this Black man get to the other side of grief and the other side of loss and the other side of addiction and know that there is something to live for, which is why his last line is hallelujah. I just really wanted him to do that. And then when I stepped away, it was like, oh, because that's what I wanted for myself. But six is insane. Six is also really funny. Like, because like now you got him in delirium, you got him, you know, like, and this is the first episode where you have all the players underneath one roof. Like all these personalities, like watching Kate Mulgrew with, you know, Dustin and Bing and Wagner, whose character is just high as a kite, just like, and so all, and I was like, oh, good, I get to lay down. I was like, at the end of the day, I get to lay. But it was, we knew it was coming. It was incredibly cathartic. Thank you for bringing that up. It is an episode that I truly, truly, truly love. It was incredibly hard to make, but at the end of the day, it was so rewarding. Like to be able to do something like that, that like, and that my body was in the place of that. You know, I tell Peter all the time, I was like, I just got to thank you for putting dialogue like this in my mouth, for really like letting this vision of me be this guy, like allowing space for me to actually show all these different emotions that they normally just don't let us as Black actors play. They just don't. And so it was so great that I got to go in and play with all these different colors and play with all this different stuff because Peter was like, of course, like, go. Like, this is what I was like, thank you for letting me hold a grenade in the back of a truck. Like, like it's just like I would thank him for the weirdest shit. I was like, thank you, man, for letting me hold a grenade. Thank you for letting me get sepsis. Like that, you know, like it just was really great. And he is one of the best collaborators ever. And I follow him to the moon. That's what this Dope Thief was, regardless of the accolades or whatever comes from it. It gave me room to show people my range and gave me room to show people that I'm not just one thing. Dope Thief allowed me to reclaim my name, really, you know, for quite a few years. I was just Paper Boi to people. Quite a few years I was, you know, just, you know, and so with this one, I think that I became Brian again. And that is very special to me. So, you know, and I want to keep doing it. I want to keep finding more characters like this. I want to keep playing like this. I may need to take a break from the trauma and the grief and the screaming and shooting in the blood. But if it's the right thing, I'm happy to run towards it for sure.
That's such a great way to end. I just had one last follow-up question. What do you think Ray is going to be up to in 5, 10 years? Is he going to turn over a new leaf?
You know, I hope that leaf is on a farm in a garden that he has procured somewhere in New Hope, Pennsylvania. I hope that he makes candles, is in love with his mother, you know, that they're running a shop. Like I really want him to wear cardigans. You know, like but I want him to really feel like he's free. I think that freedom is the thing that he needs. And I see him like in an old pickup truck, you know, like getting seeds and because that's kind of what I want for myself. So, but I really hope that he travels. That's the main thing is I want him to get out of Philly. I want him to know that there's a whole world out there. There's places he can make sun brewed tea, you know? So like that's the goal.